Andrew McCART, IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. I'm here with former IBF world champion Paul Butler. You've just weighed in there against Willie Baldo Garcia. I hope I've said that right. Tough Mexican, but this is where you want to be. You want to get these fights in so you can get to that world title.
Definitely. Obviously, we had problems with Agbeko, visa problems. So Garcia steps in, and to be honest with you, it's a tougher fight than Agbeko, stylistically wise. He comes, he's in my face, and he'll be right in front of me for the 10 rounds. With Agbeko, it was more of a thinking game, being smart, out hustling him, being a bit quicker, using my youth against Agbeko. With this kid, he's all action. Everyone knows about all the Mexicans that have been coming over and ripping up the script. So I've just got to be smart and not let this kid do the same.
I was going to be my next question. We've seen these Mexicans, these unknown Mexicans to the British public come over here and, like you said, rip up the script. But how, for you, that's not going to happen? No,
that's something I'm not going to let happen. He is very good. He's mixed in good company. He's had the majority loss to the #1 Mexican, Barros, I think his name is, who's had a draw with Angeres or whatever his name is.
You know it better than me.
He had a draw with him, so he's mixed in good company. That's his last loss. He'd lost 3 of his first 5, I think. So he'd obviously been matched tough from the get-go. So he's tough, he's good, and like I say, it's a tougher test than Agbeko, I believe myself anyway.
What kind of performance do you need to, because like right now the bantamweight division is on fire, man. You just look at the champions: Donaire, Inoue, Casimero. You've got yourself. You've got young Lee McGregor, who's making a name for himself. European champion, British champion, Commonwealth champion. The bantamweight division is on fire right now. It's a hard division. It's a tough division. What kind of statement do you need to make tomorrow night?
I done an interview the other day, and it's exactly what I said. The bantamweight division is one of the best divisions in world boxing at the moment. It's stacked with quality, and you only need to look at the British champion, who's ranked number 3 with the IBF. I'm sure he's ranked with other governing bodies as well. Lee McGregor, very good kid. And then look above that, and then look above me. You've got your Donaire, who's looking unbelievable at the moment. Looks like he's boxing Casimero in August. And then you've got arguably one of the best pound for pound fighters, top 3 anyway, in Inoue, who's just rolling everyone over. So this has got to be a good statement for me. I've got to go out there, I've got to go put on a show. Like I was speaking to my dad, and my dad's saying, just box smart, this kid's in your face. I'm not the type of person that's going to run around and, do you know what I mean, and steal rounds. He's coming to have it, then I'm gonna have to meet him head on at some times. I'm not the type of person to think I'm gonna try and run and nick rounds just by using my legs. With kids like this, you've got to let them know that you're there and you're not there to be bullied.
I'm glad you said that, because it seems like your division right now, when you look at Inoue, he doesn't nick rounds. He goes in. Donaire, he doesn't nick rounds. It's like Lee McGregor doesn't. You mentioned Lee McGregor as well. He doesn't nick rounds. You don't really nick rounds. I mean, it's just like the fights are so exciting in this bantamweight division. Why is that, do you think? Because it seems like normally that's the lower weights you seem to be more skillful and stuff like that. But for some reason, the bantamweight division, you seem to be like little heavyweights.
We seem to throw, we throw a lot more, don't we? We throw a lot more. We're action packed. It's only been over the last few years, I'd say, that the heavyweights have been starting to be a little bit better. When the Klitschko's and that were ruling the heavyweights, it was never action packed. It was never like, hey, you're watching the heavyweights this weekend. Now it's, you're watching the heavyweights this weekend. Everyone likes to see knockouts, and that's what seems to be happening with the bantamweights now.
Well, I mean, I spoke to Lee McGregor and stuff like that. Would that have to be a fight? You said he's highly ranked and stuff like that. But is that a fight that could be made in the future? But is he a little bit less experienced to face somebody like you yet?
Lee's right there. Do you know what I mean? He's earned his spec. He's a very good kid. Listen, if you're good enough, you're old enough, you're good enough. He's got the ranking for a reason. He's just demolished Guerfi within a round. A great performance. And I'm made up he done that, because that kid was doing my head in all over my Instagram. So made up Lee smashed him to bits. But no, Lee's ready. Do you know what I mean? He's a big kid. And I don't think he'll be around at bantamweight for too many more years. So I think he is trying to push on and get his shot now, because in my opinion he'll be a 2-weight world champion. He is a very good kid. but that is a fight that can be made. Obviously, we've both got to see what happens with... If the IBF was to become vacant tomorrow, me and Lee are in line for that. As it stands, we're the next two in line because Daz Morena's just been beat. No one's in it too. Me and Lee are 3 and 4. So that could be made. But obviously, I'm in line for the WBO as well. So I could be... If, say, all titles became vacant tomorrow, potentially I could have the choice of IBF or the WBO, and then we pick which route we go down.
I'm glad you mentioned Donaire and Casemiro, because it's a fight that I'm like. You mentioned Donaire seems to be just getting better and better ways, like a fine wine. What's your thoughts on that fight? I mean, Donaire seems to be ripping up the script against Inoue. He put in a great performance, like he broke Inoue's eye socket, and I think it was his cheekbone or something like that as well. His nose, sorry. I mean, what's your thoughts on that fight? What a cracker!
Great fight. Do you know what?
Can Donaire do it?
Yeah, I think Donaire does it. I think Donaire stops him. I think he, not so much old man him, because he's not boxing like an old man anymore. He's boxing like a young, fresh. Like when he boxed Frampton and people like that, he didn't look great, but he weren't in his weight category. Everyone thought he was going up the weight because of the age. He was probably going up just for his own satisfaction of like, can I be a world champion at this weight, that weight, that weight? But he's come back down to bantamweight, and he's looking unbelievable. He's strong, he's powerful. When he entered the World Boxing Super Series, and I think that's why Ryan picked him, because he's thinking, coming back down to bantamweight, I'll have a bit of that. That'll kill him. And as we've seen against Inoue, he just kept getting stronger and stronger. He nearly had Inoue out in round 9. He's some athlete to still be going at this age.
Talk to me about Inoue before I let you go. I mean, can that man be beaten?
Not at bantamweight, super bantam. Maybe they might be a little bit big for him, but I think he'll go up to super bantamweight, and I think he'll match himself carefully, pick one of the weaker champions, do a job there. But can he unify at super bantam? I'm not quite sure. He possibly could, because he carries that power. To be putting people still asleep. He's come up from like flyweight. That's unheard of, to come up to like bantamweight and be knocking out big kids. You know, like Jamie McDonald's a big kid. He dropped. It looked like he was going to stop Donaire in round 11 or 12 with the body shot. To be hurting kids like that, it's frightening, and he's obviously carrying some serious power down at the bantamweight. Back
to you then, Paul. Willie Baldo Garcia. We talked about the tough Mexicans coming over, but there's going to be 150 fans here tomorrow night. It's going to be live on IFL TV. The Fight Pick app, you can download this app now. Have you seen it? It's a good app. You can download it and you can pick the rounds and stuff. That's like cash prices. So what can the fans here in attendance and IFL TV expect from Paul Butler tomorrow night?
No, I'm geared up for a tough fight now. I was geared up for a smarter thinking fight, but I've got my head on it. I know I'm in for a tough fight, and I'm going to sit down on my shots. I'm going to let a few go. Music to my ears. Paul, thank you so much for doing this for IFL TV, and I'll see you tomorrow night, champ. Thank you. Nice time. Cheers.